You know, we all have difference in opinion. We're all going to have difference in opinion. You know, that's supposed to be the beauty of the United States of fucking America. That you're allowed to have that opinion. And I mean, like, I don't know, like this whole politically correct, you know, I'm offended, you know, I'm a special little fucking snowflake idea that people have about society is fucking disgusting.
Yeah. And it's ironic that the original Constitution, you know, specified that you had to be a landowner. You know, you had to have some sort of investment in the country. You know,
to be able to vote,
to be able to make a deciding factor and to vote, or you had to be a landowner and whatever else. And that was overruled at some point. And I mean, overruling it's probably right, but there was nothing put in place that measured what's your investment in the country that decides that you've done enough to show that you have a vested interest in it. Like, that's a real problem. Like right now, people control the country who have no vested interest, and that includes, it includes a lot of people. It's not foreigners, it's not ethnicities. It's just a lot of frickin' people who have no vested interest in this country whatsoever, who make decisions for it. Or the ones who are making a lot of decisions, like we mentioned before, was corporations who, you know, their interest isn't in our country, it's in how they can make money for themselves and their shareholders within our country, which goes completely against the idea of having a vested interest in the country itself. You know, that's in conflict to the country's interests.
Yeah.
So, it's just frustrating. I could rant for days on these problems. I mean, I don't have any solutions. Don't get me wrong. I have no solutions in the end.
Yeah, no,
it's easy to
like
see the problems.
We're all kind of. It's very easy to see the problems, and also very easy to acknowledge that as of right now, there's been no way to fucking deal with them. Like right now, I was talking to a it made me sad. There was I think she was about 13 or 14 or something, and she was talking about how, you know, oh, Donald Trump has the right idea. Donald Trump has the right idea. And I looked at her, I was like, well, that's why you're 14 and you're not allowed to vote.
Unfortunately, a bunch of people... I agree.
Like, I mean, like, the sad thing is that, you know, right now, it's like, you've got somebody like Jill Stein, apparently she's got some pretty good stances. You know, you've got the Libertarian Party who's slowly kind of coming up. But the last time we had a fucking libertarian president or an independent president was fucking like Abraham Lincoln.
Well, yeah, and he founded basically the New Republicans. So,
and I mean, when you actually look at, you know, what happened,
yeah,
with Abraham Lincoln, you know, he wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve. He tried implementing greenbacks, and I mean, basically, just Jesus Christ, I just died. And he tried, you know, working on the system. Jesus. Okay, so they have guys that have like cannons now, with the Corpus. They knock you down, and it's not the ballistas. The guys on roller skates, they now have cannons.
Nice. Where's this at?
I don't know. I'm in a syndicate mission, and I'm getting hurt really bad.
Do you need something to rub on that?
Yeah, this fucking clip.
Are you saying he's got sand in his vagina or something? That's
Pretty
not
much.
so cool.
He might need something to toughen it up a bit, apparently.
Man, Major, shut your mouth before I fuck it.
Wow! Somebody be gentle. Give him a hug, man. He sounds like he needs a hug, man.
He needs a kiss
need
first.
a hug, don't you?
No, but basically, I mean, like when I was like, basically, I was sitting there. I was like, you know, I was like, that's why you're, you know, 14 and you're not allowed to vote. But you've got the Libertarian Party who's sitting there, and you know they're trying to make strides. But the fact is that, you know, they're everybody's so caught up in this multi-party system that the framers of our Constitution didn't even support.
Right.
Well,
that's what was that? Who was it? John Monroe. That was his greatest crime, right? Was the era of good feeling under President John Monroe, and you know, it was right after the war with, I want to say it was like with France or something. We had some sort of stupid war It might have been the War of 1812. We had this air of good feeling. You know, all the political parties kind of died off, and John Monroe was like, "Yay! Political parties are dying off, and everything's going away." And then, you know, Thomas Jefferson warned, he's like, you know, what's ridiculous is that parties naturally show up, and what you really want is as many parties as possible, so that nobody has enough power as a single group. You really want people to have to work together. You want as many parties as possible, not as few parties. And John Monroe's like, no, we just need people to, like, you know, just vote for the right issues and not really try to be politically strong. And as a result, he lost support from all the parties because he supported none of them. So they didn't support him, and he didn't make his second election. And in the end, the parties took over anyway. So just... It's really interesting. So yeah, like you need you need to have as many parties representing as many ideas as possible, because we don't have 2 points of view in this country. We don't have like these two unique points of view. We have millions of points of view, and we don't have a system that represents that. Like in that context, I think Parliament has a better job than we do, except for Upper Parliament. I think Upper Parliament needs to go away, but keep the House of Commons, throw the rest out. But yeah, it's weird. It's frustrating. Like you said, the party system shouldn't be the way it is, and this is a manifestation of the Civil War, unfortunately. So the old system disappeared with the Civil War. You know, that's just the way it went. There wasn't a lot of reason to work together and to come to terms of agreement when you could have so much power in such a small place that you could do things like order a war against, you know, other states who wanted to secede because they no longer agreed with the federal government. You know, when you could start forcing people to your will, you remove the need to come to the table with an agreement. You now need to just overpower your enemies. You know, and that's what happened to our voting system. It's no longer an agreement system. It's who carries the biggest stick.
Yep.
And we've lost the ability to vote for no confidence. Like that was successing. We can secede.
I don't even agree with everything that, you know, the Libertarian Party is supporting. I really don't.
Well, they're trying to make it so that everybody like is dispersed as much as possible. Like take.
And it's like, you know, I mean, I don't agree with them, but at the same time, it's like my options right now are very slim. Gary Johnson has some good points, and I think he's the only... I believe he's kind of the only chance that that we're not going to get a Trump or a Hillary.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're going to be stuck with one of them at this point.
And that scares the shit out of me.
You're invaded. That's it. You're invaded.
And his controls are the wrong way for me to use him and save his ass.
Okay.
You just got invaded. I'm like Siri for you.
Wait, how I get invaded?
Dark?
I just killed the Crystal Sage. I already killed the Crystal Sage.
That's not the main boss.
That's not the main boss. Yeah, he's like, I just killed the Crystal Sage. How can we be invaded? Oh, and he's standing here in front of me. Maybe Dad wasn't high. Yeah, the Libertarian Party's funny. I like a lot of things they talk about, and it's not because I like their individual points of view. It's that I like the idea that they have such a diverse points of view that even within the Libertarian Party, they kind of disagree with themselves. And I think a lot of people find that to be a problem, and I find that to be probably their a sign. I think it's a healthy sign. Like I think that's the way it should be in a lot of ways. Uh-oh, you just broke the rules.
No, I didn't.
He bowed. You guys are not supposed to be using
It's
Estus's.
not a fight club.
Whatever, he bowed. It was going to be Fight Club. Now he's going to heal too.
That's fine.
He's gonna...
It's not going to be a fair fight anyway. I've got a blue person.
But yeah, this idea that we have to like conform to each other and
Someone named Tron.
be the same and get our, I don't know, participation award. You know, everybody's like looking for their participation award. Oh, I support
When
that
the
so I can
fuck
feel
did
good
that
about
start?
myself.
Like,
It started with politically correctness. You know, the
I mean,
PC
I
hiss.
remember having to be good at something. You know, like
Yeah, it started with the PC hiss. You know, you getting your participation award is exactly the same as everybody. Like they jump at the bandwagon effect. You know, some group of people supporting something, and so for me to feel like I'm part of the crowd, I will support it too, even if I secretly don't really support it. A great example is population movement. Chronically, like some small group of people find a neat place that's a good economy and good housing and everything else, and they move there and they tell their friends, and then pretty soon the housing and everything sucks, and the cost of living sucks, but everybody's still moving there. Like Austin, Texas is having the bandwagon effect. Bandwagon effect goes against all economic sense. It's this bizarre situation in which you keep doing things because everybody else is doing it, even if it's no longer a good idea. And you find that now with all the PC hiss and everything else. Like, oh, these guys are all saying this is bad, so even if I disagree with it, like, and often it is bad, you know, making fun of people with disabilities, whatever else, yeah, I agree, bad, but, you know, at some level, we laugh in order to deal with not crying. You know, like, it's a way to fight depression. So,
yeah.
it's
No, I mean, like,
it's
I think
frustrating.
like what I think again, I kind of like what Jim Jeffries says on well, Jim Jeffries and Christopher Titus, both of them, they have really good fucking points about political correctness, and you know, every fucking child gets a trophy. And Jim Jeffries he goes, you know, you people in America. He's like, you know, he's like, I'm not saying you're stupid or anything. He's like, but if he goes, China is beating America. He goes, you know, in America, you are 27th in education in the world. He goes, 27th, and he goes, and that's fucking sad.
Yes,
He's
that
like,
is.
China. He goes, but you know what you are? He's like, you're number 1 in confidence. So you're raising stupid, confident people.
That's
He
true.
goes, and he goes, you look at China. He goes, they're number 1 in education, and they're the fucking bottom of the barrel in confidence. He's like, you can. He goes, you sit there, and he goes, yeah, you can, you know. He goes, China's infrastructure is infinitely better than America. He goes, I'm sorry. He goes, it just says. He goes, you know, if you look at it, and you say, you know, you go, what happens if a child starts falling behind in America? Oh, don't worry, Johnny. You can catch up. He goes, what do you think they fucking do in China when Mei Pang isn't fucking towing the line? Get back, go fucking make some shoes and help our fucking economy. You're holding the smart kids down. And,
It's frustrating.
it really is. You know, I mean, like, and then Chris Titus, he also says something about it, talking about his kid. He's like, you know, he goes, and I was sitting there, you know, because my kid was young, and I took her to the first soccer thing, and they sucked. He's like, you know, my daughter was terrible at soccer, and I ended up going, and you know, I was like, okay, well, you know, now that that's over, let's go find a new sport for you to suck at, you know, like, let's do it. And she goes, no, Dad. He goes, and when she stopped crying,
God damn, that's rude.
she goes, no, Dad, you got to take me to the trophy ceremony. And I was like, what? Trophy ceremony? They're going to make you watch the good kids get trophies? That's horrible and disgusting. And I love that.
Let's go.
And after she stopped crying, because I went to the trophy ceremony, and everybody ended up getting one. And he's like, and when the fuck did that start?
I don't know.
You know, he's like, he goes, when did we start sitting there and saying that, you know, mediocrity was great in America? He's like, I don't want to be. He's like, I live in America. I don't want to be mediocre. He goes, he goes, America, France is mediocre. Do you want to be France? He's like, France participates. And it cracks me up because it's very true. It's like, you know, in this country we supposedly strived for excellence, and then now everybody's sitting there and everybody's a special snowflake. But what happens to that guy who's sitting there and he's throwing the pigskin through the fucking tire every day? He gets the same shitty ass trophy as this fucking guy who's sitting there jumping in the fucking goal, waving his arms up and down. You know, that guy who fucking sat there and put in effort for fucking, you know, 3 hours every morning to actually be good at something. You know, he gets the same crap ass trophy. Like, no. You know, he shouldn't get the same, you know, that same trophy, because that kid's gonna wake up one day with an overdeveloped sense of with an overdeveloped sense of competition.
Well, so what's interesting about that is it's where is it? It's at Finland. I think it's Finland has a child's government. I'm really certain it's Finland. They have this child's government, and the kids get to decide on, like, they have their own little child parliament and child, you know, representatives and everything else, and it's to teach them all this cool stuff. And then children are guaranteed some really important fundamentals, and you know, they're guaranteed medical care, they're guaranteed food, they're guaranteed everything else until they're 25, which is a pretty interesting age to choose that to happen at. So it doesn't matter what happens, the government takes care of all the children, which is a great concept in its own right. Who just did that to my stuff? I see. You just dropped it on my computer. Yeah. No, you hit O. You can hit O. You can happily hit O. But so they do this whole thing, and then so the kids decide these random stuff for kids laws and kids things, and it's cool practice. It's a lot of good pretend time, right? But the kids are never effectively challenged as a result. They never ever understand. You need to stop.
I'm plugged into Tate's machine.
It doesn't work like that on here.
It doesn't work
I
then.
have no idea.
Well, how else would you connect it?
I have no idea. I have
PS4.
figure it out without screwing up my machine. So,
Because it's logging in over there.
it's logging in over here on this machine every time she goes to turn it on. But
I'm gonna get you
anyway,
a participation trophy.
right, so they effectively get everything they want without ever struggling for it. And it's just like when we took away all the scary stuff at the playground because we were worried we were going to hurt the kids, you know? Kids
Oh my God.
no longer have a sense of, like, overcoming their own fears. Well, and it's interesting is that in Finland, you know, a child is taken care of I think it's Finland. I have to go look it up. But, like, they have their parliament, they have their rules.
I think so too. They're
And-
taken care of until they're like 24, right?
It's 24, 25, and like when they turn 25, they have to fend for themselves. Well, here's this person who's never once been responsible for themselves. They've never had to practice responsibility. Their most informative years of their lives, the point in time when they build the strongest neural networks in their brain for their training, is done. Okay, that's a really sad thought. They are going to have almost no ability to reprogram their brain, and they've been raised with the idea that there is no need to strive or struggle. By 35, the suicide rate for a male in Finland is 35%. That's 1 in 3 kills themselves. Every 10 years it goes up by 10%. No male reaches 100 years old. It's almost astronomically unheard of in that country. Like,
wow.
It's depressing, you know. Like, here's people we're doing all the, you know, we want to do what's right for the kids, and we don't want to have them cry, we don't want to get hurt, and we really want to protect them so much. And you know what? We're sick. We're obsessed with children at a very sick level that we are so obsessed with every little thing that they're doing that we can't let them go. Like, there's a sickness in our adult society at this point. Like, George Carlin talks about, you know, you people are fucking sick. If in any other society, people who are obsessed this much with every little thing a child's doing would be called stalkers. You know, like, let the child live a little and grow up on their own. Let them get hurt. Let them learn that touching a stove is going to burn their fucking hand. You know, that, you know, playing with fire is going to burn you. That running, you know, in the dark, you're going to stub your toes. Like something. Like, pick up your toes by stepping on them now and then. You pick up your toys. You're going to step on them now and then. You'll learn. You know, don't keep making decisions for the children. Part of our job as adults is to make certain that children have the appropriate skill sets to be adults in the future. And the only way they do that is to learn as young people to make decisions for themselves. We can't keep doing it for them because they aren't doing it for themselves. They're not learning. You have to give them the skills to be adults. And that's why you're supposed to have stuff like sex education in schools, because that's part of being an adult. We're not teaching them to have sex as children. We're teaching them what to be an adult person, like these are things you got to be concerned about. STDs, you've got to learn about them. We don't teach them how to weld in school because we want to put kids in at 12 years old to, they don't go into metal shop in school so they can be children in the industry and go work in the metal shops and whatnot at 12. We do it because in their future, they might have a career as a welder or some other craftsman. And they learn on lathes and everything else. We don't, and then you have to take all of their education that same way. They've got to learn to climb tall things. They've got to learn to fall down. They've got to learn to burn themselves. They've got to learn to be cautious. And when you don't have that, they don't know what to do. By the time they're 25 years old, their brains are programmed. You can't reprogram them. They are a computer at that point. They're done. And you've taken away every chance for them to learn on their own to be an independent person. And then you throw them to the wolves at 25. You're like, hey, by the way, you've been completely protected. The whole thing. It's like, I didn't raise my daughter going, you got to watch out for women's rights in the future because everybody's going to be down on your ass and they're not going to give you equal this or equal that. Because what are you training them to do? To look at every decision made by somebody else as if they're treating her inferior. Like, that's not how you develop a strong sense of an independence. That's how you develop somebody who's scared of the world. And that's what we're doing. We're making people who don't know how to make a decision. They don't know how to fend for themselves. They don't have the basics of, like, I've got to save my money in order to pay rent, or I've got to pay my bills early before spending. Like, it's handed to them. And
yep.
When that all falls apart, they become depressed, they become needy, and they start talking about how the world sucks, and they don't know what to do, and they give up, and they off themselves. So, there you go. The country that takes care of its children the most in the world has the highest suicide rate for adults. The people with the most guns have the lowest crime rate. Like, hello?
It's been proven. These things have been proven through trial.
After World War II, psychologists in Europe started developing special kids parks because they were like, in a future where potentially half of the male population has to go off to war to die, we need to have people who are more self-confident. If you want to have people who are going to be soldiers going into war, like we had 2 back-to-back wars and a bunch of skirmishes in between, and conflict was a growing reality. And so Europe started developing these children's parks where they're just full of like old mattresses and tires and fire bins, and you give them matches and dangerous things. And the whole rule of the park is parents aren't allowed to interfere. Unless the child is in immediate danger of harming themselves, parents were not allowed to interfere. So there's people who watch, in case something really bad does happen, like they break a bottle and go to cut somebody's jugular. Otherwise, the parents can't interfere.
Back over.
What's up?
He said, hold on a second.
No, I said hi.
Oh. Well, it's like only like 2 of these parks left, too. Yeah, like Laughing Wisdom and Hot Rod Taters were in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, these parks are awesome, and there's still like 2 of them left, in which like the kids they put each other in the tires, and they roll them down the freaking hill, and they come out bruised and scraped and beat up, and they come out with a better immune system, and they come out, they do have fights now and then, and they resolve them themselves, and but they also learn to play together and to challenge each other's sense of danger, like you got to climb to the top of the monkey bars. Hell with hanging underneath them. Let's walk across the top of the damn things,
Yeah.
Let's do something really stupid so we can learn from it. And yeah, you're going to have kids who are going to get hurt. And that's the trade-off. Like at some point, you're trading off, are we making them such that they are strong, capable, independent people in the future who can carry on our future for us? Or are we going to protect them to the point where they can't do anything and they become agoraphobic, suicidal adults?
Both.
Yeah, both is a sad part too. So it's just very frustrating to me that that's what our society's gotten into. Oh, Rosh, I don't know. We do this a lot. We go back and forth in here. There's a lot of philosophy that happens, and we just kind of go between games and game design, and we'll jump back and forth between various games and talk about game concepts, or we'll talk about politics. It's just somebody starts a conversation and we just start talking. It doesn't really seem to matter, and we all give our opinion. And people are entitled to their opinion. Don't get me wrong there either. Like we definitely encourage people to just to talk their point of view, not just to listen to their rants. There's nobody who's necessarily right or wrong. That's the cool thing about opinions. I like curry. Some people don't like curry. That's the way it goes. It's just. I love me some curry.
Who doesn't curry?
Some people don't like curry.
Well,
My uncle won't touch sushi. That's my point of view too. I'm like, well, more sushi for me too. I like sushi. My uncle won't touch it. So. Oh, Corla Trins likes sushi. Yay, sushi. Yeah.
Ooh. Yuck.
Yeah. See.
I don't like dead fish, man.
Cobra.
It should be more fun.
But you like
They gotta
live
be
fish.
flopping around.
Oh yeah, take a bite out of a live fish. Yeah. I've not done that one yet.
Yeah.
Always fun.
So long as it's not mackerel. I think mackerel's got one of the most interesting flavors.
Smacking you in the face like trying to buy
No,
it.
mackerel's one of the ones you can't hide. Like, there's a lot of the falsified fish, you know, like they're selling one fish as another fish at the sushi shops or at the market, but you can never sell mackerel as something other than mackerel because it's got its smell and aroma is so incredible.
Yeah.
It smells like
She
mackerel.
said-
That's not what I'm talking about.
I hope not. That'd be a very terrible. That's what she said. Oh my
Yeah.
Jesus, I'm dead again.
But no, like I said, there's these parks, and I was reading about them because it was I read a lot of psychology and sociology, and like I said, they give the kids matches and everything else, and unless the child is physically in the way of harm, like bleeding or whatever else, or broken arms, the parents don't interfere. They let the kids sort it out themselves, and they learn better, and they play together, and they have fun. And there's only like 2 or 3 of them left in the world of these parks. There used to be all over Europe and all over even America, and they're all gone now. And so kids just, it's unfortunate. Yeah, you light a torch. Light a torch. It'll stop the bleed out.
Yep.
He's like, I don't own a torch. There it is.
There's a torch.
Yeah, I know. That's the only reason
Ching.
I ended up buying a torch in
Wow.
Dark Souls.
Okay, now,
That is the only fucking reason.
Hey, I can roll if I keep it on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt, Rosh. I agree. Rosh, let me tell you a joke. The presidential elections in the U.S. You guys got it worse with the only choices being Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
like I said, my shirt's
Hawkeye Hillary Clinton, that's great. Donald Trump a lot and Hawkeye Hillary Clinton. Oh, that's beautiful. Hockey Hillary Clinton.
My shirt's right.
Wow.
US is
Yeah.
doomed.
No,
Well, I mean, it's absolutely true. Like, I feel, I mean, like, it's funny that other countries are sitting there looking at us going, like, ah, you guys.
what the hell? Yeah, no, it's a what the hell moment. So, Vivid,
Yeah,
how many Oberon parts do you have?
a shit ton.
You should go sell them.
Sell them.
Sell them. What are you gonna do with them? It's Oberon, right? Like, sell the
You mean for
Oberon.
credits, right?
Yeah, just sell them for credits. I got 500,000
Yeah.
credits from Oberon parts
I
today.
had 700.
Yeah, 700,000.
Isaac, are you going to be using that one
It
sword?
was like, holy crud.
I'm trying to get my character to be able to, yeah, so I can test it out.
Oh my goodness.
Well, my character-
Well, so the VA just contacted me.
Yeah.
I feel stupid.
They said that, like, she was like, so apparently you're having a flare-up with your back? I was like, it's more than a flare-up. I was like, it's been a constant fucking battle, like, for the past 10 days. It's like, I was trying to wait until, you know, I was able to see the pain specialist.
Right.
And she was like, well, okay, well, I'm going to ask Dr. Diaz if she can write you a prescription, which is my primary care, which begs the question, why the fuck didn't my primary care doctor try to do this earlier?
That's a good question.
It's like, you know, I mean, apparently I need to see a pain specialist, but she can write me a prescription. So
That's true.
let's go
Well,
with
that's the
that.
funny one too, right? Like if you are one of the ones to abuse the system, you can go into your primary care physician with a toothache and get, you know, drugs because they can't
Yeah,
diagnose your tooth.
Wow.
Yeah, they can give you something for the pain. Just say you've got a catastrophic toothache, and they can give you something for the pain, but they aren't legally allowed to diagnose their tooth unless they're a dentist. That's the way it works in the U.S. So they can give you all the drugs you want, and they'll be like, they'll give you a referral to see a dentist. And you're like, it's okay. It'll probably go away later. But yeah,
That's why my mom was a friend with the dentist.
there you go. And it's yeah.
Well, I mean, my mom was my like one of the reasons I'm always so afraid of the medication I'm taking, and I try to be so careful with it, is because I'm gonna die.
Because you're gonna die? That's
So was I.
One of the reasons is because my mom was a huge pillhead, and I mean, rest her soul and whatnot. But I saw what the medication was able to do to her. So I, in turn, I try to be very fucking careful with it. I just got all 8 insignias. Wow.
Oh wow.
I'm actually impressed. But I mean, like I've seen what the medication can do, and it's like I'm not going to be the type to try to abuse it. But my mom, she was like when she was stripping, she met a dentist, Dr. John Dr. John. She probably shouldn't say his name. And she would keep basically just like looking at him like, oh, I mean, like I'm feeling bad. Like my mom tried getting from one of my doctors who I knew, she tried getting him to prescribe her Valium because she was too happy. Which is,
guy we gotta kill.
if that gives you an idea of how my mom went, she was like, I'm feeling too happy. This isn't normal. It's like, what? No, you're feeling not high and not normal. But basically, I mean, the whole situation was, it was kind of funny. Like, like now that I think back on it, I realize, why her and that dentist were such good friends.
Yeah, Rosh. That's a nice story. Oh, what the flying? Stripping?
Yeah, my mom was my mom was a stripper. She was also a paralegal, so she liked to refer to herself as a stripper with a law degree. Hey, dude, I'm not fucking complaining. She apparently had made enough money to pay off a house as well as not work for 5 years by the time she died.
Wow.
There you go.
She didn't have to work a fucking day for 5 years.
Nice. There you go.
Making $25 an hour, for a 40-hour a week job, as a paralegal, and then she'd make about $1,000 a night as a stripper.
That's right.
And hey, I mean, I'm not complaining. It provided well. I'd do it if I could.
My head just exploded into glittery pieces. Rosh, that's
I like his commentary. It's pretty fucking great.
yeah, I love Rosh's commentary. That's hilarious. He's a really fun guy.
Oh man.
Oh man. I almost want to go bust into Dark Souls 3 because Laughing's in Dark Souls 3 at this point. I was pondering busting in there with our stuff. So I went and helped.
Honestly, I'd kind of like to, because I'm a little bored of Warframe for the time being. Like,
Well,
I'm kind of at a point where it's.
I've got like 10 Warframes building. Well, the other thing too is like last night I went and helped Hot Pockets with some stuff, and then I helped. It was last. Yeah, it was last night. I helped Hot Pockets with some stuff, and I couldn't remember how to play. we get in there and we got invaded, and I ended up dying to the first invader, and I was like, oh yeah, not a big deal. Then we got invaded a second time, and I destroyed this. I finally got. We barely won the second invasion. And then by the third invasion, I was kind of back into my groove marginally, and then I was complaining because I didn't have Vivid there. And I was like, Vivid was here.
If Vivid was here.
Yeah. So, yeah, we finally started destroying things and kind of going to town. And even being down-leveled, Hot Pockets' build is incredibly weak. Like, I don't know if he's been reading too much into the wiki or what, but his build is just super weak in Dark Souls 3.
What's all his stats into?
I have no idea. So,
well, when we're gonna have to talk to him about it. I mean, because honestly, I'm not sure how good our Battle Mage builds would actually be. Because he's only a level 50 or something, isn't he?
I don't know. I was summoned in there. He was fighting Champion Gunter, and I got summoned in, and
Did you have something special in mind?
I was gonna do chicken soup.
Just chicken soup?
Yeah, chicken and vegetable soup.
Okay, I can do that.
So I went in there. He spent a better part of like an hour plus trying to beat Gunter, champion Gunter, and I was just like,
Really?
yeah. And I was in here just, I agree. You know, I agree, guys. I totally agree. But so I jumped in there and I was like, I was like, were you playing on a new game plus or something? And like you're naked? Like did you try to make a challenge of it or what? And he was totally decked out and he was totally dying to champion Gunter. So I jumped in with our battle mage builds, and I think I killed Gunter in like 5 shots. Down leveled. I was down leveled because we use a password because my level's so damn high. But yeah, I 5-shotted Gunter, and I was like, yeah. So you really need to fix your shit.
When we went to New Game, when we went to New Game Plus, we were also like. I think we were like.
Well, he's not on New Game Plus.
We should have been in New Game Plus 3.
He's on regular Game 0. He's on his first path through. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's on his very first pass through, and
God.
I was one-shotting every mob, and I was really floored.
The first pass through, you fucking play casual. God damn it. First pass through, play casual until you get a pale tongue, and then fucking do your build that you want. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
So if you want to, we can move over to Dark Souls 3, and we can do that until No Man's Sky comes out, and I'll fire up No Man's Sky and stream that out here at midnight. So, huh? What?
You have a copy of Dark Souls 3.
Oh no, laughing you didn't.
No, I didn't get a copy.
Me and Isaac are on.
Oh, you guys have I have the only 2 copies.
Yep.
I'm gonna cry now.
Well, because they're his copies.
I one-shotted that thing, by the way.
I didn't touch it.
No, I mean I one-shotted it. I Crystal Soul Speared that stupid spider dog in the face, and it died in one shot.
Well,
God,
New Game
fucking
1?
spider dog.
I'm in New Game
3, yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Fucking, you're such a noob nugget dipped in weak
Yeah,
sauce.
that's exactly what Hot Pocket was having problems with there, Rosh. Like the champion Gunter kick of death. The high wombo kick of death crap. I was like, I'm not getting close to Gunter. I'm just going to shoot him with Crystal Soul Spear.
Exactly.
Crystal Soul Speared him in the face with the crystal catalyst and the stupid candlestick on the other hand, and just destroyed his ass.
I think a really good setup would be for PvP is use the Sage Crystal staff. Mark?
Yeah, it's or PvP.
Yeah.
Anything that does damage is what I use. I just
No,
I'm impartial.
Well, hold on. The reason why I say Sage Crystal Staff is because it increases the potency of sorceries, and it will go through like shields a lot easier.
What are you talking the?
Sage Crystal Staff.
Crystal Sage Staff.
Yeah,
No, Sage's Crystal Staff.
it's called CSS. I thought.
We have Dark Souls 3. Our other copy
Right
is just
here.
here. No, Rosh is talking.
Oh.
And I have more live than they have, because he has to watch them.
That will poison knife repeat.
But no, it increases the potency of the thing. Pretty sure it makes it more crystallized, or is it the crystal chime?
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. There's a.
Sage's Crystal Staff and then the Crystal Chime.
I don't know that either one explicitly ups damage on only the crystal magic.
No, it doesn't up damage on the crystal magic. It increases the potency of sorceries.
Well, I know, but like
But it
those only
increases the
work. Those
MP cost.
yeah, all the ones that do that jack up the MP cost, but
Sage's Crystal Staff.
they
The reason why I say that is because you also have the Crown of Death. That way we
Have you ever seen my Dark Souls 3 build?
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm just saying it might. I don't know.
Dark Souls 1 build.
I'm just giving it. What's it called?
The thing is you have to have your
I've
int above
casually
50
seen it.
before that stat's worth of crap. Before that staff's worth of crap.
You
No,
guys
no,
ever
I
seen my
already
Dark Souls
have
1
it
build?
at 60.
I know,
At
but that's the
60,
thing
I'm
is, it's
done.
the way Miyazaki and the team designed these things was that if your int's not above 50-ish, that staff does less damage and it buffs you less for your attacks than the other staffs do. One of the other staffs does. So
Okay.
so it
Court Sorcerer Staff is still. Okay.
and then there's a whole multiplier table for that because they apply almost a fixed multiplication damage. Like it's like 1 point.
Almost.
It's like
No, we don't, Rosh. We absolutely do.
No, always.
Always.
What?
Yeah, I pickle pea and pickle plum.
No, it's pump-a-rump. Dang
Pump a
it.
rump? It's pump a rump.
Oh, check your privileges.
Check your flirt. Because he's a white man, is that what you're saying?
No,
No, because he misidentified the other half to
it's pump a rump.
the new Sparkle Pro.
Oh, he's
Well, not actually.
I hate and I despise Dark Souls 2's voices for those. I mean, they
I
don't.
despise Dark Souls 3's.
Dark Souls 2's were worse, man.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3.
Really?
Well, because in Dark Souls, at least in Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, it kind of sounds like it was either a real person's voice or something that was tone bent to a higher pitch. In Dark Souls 2, it sounds like they just sped up the voice. So it's like it goes like 5 times faster.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just goes really fast. It's not the syllables almost blur together. It's so fast, and that seems like that's how they got it to be a higher pitch. And I'm like, well, that was really
Probably.
bad programming on
That was
their
a
part.
lazy audio choice.
Yeah, that was a really lazy audio choice. So he's gonna cleave you. I'm gonna laugh. You're gonna be like, I almost made it. Oh, almost made it.
I think I hate more about Dark Souls 2 the most is that fucking soul memory. That's
Savage S.
What's up? Did he say something fairly hysterical again?
Yeah, he's doing the whole like hater shades thing all the time. It's like I checked my privileges. Turns out I'm not qualified to deal with peasants like you.
Are we sure
Hater
we're
shades
not
down.
in the chat?
Like,
Are you
Yeah.
I'm not even fucking in the chat.
Are you sure you're not Ross?
I'm starting. Yeah, I'm starting.
Pretty sure you're Ross.
Yeah, because Taters over here has hater shades on all the time. And you say something, he's like, he looks at you, just tips down his hater shades.
I'm just gonna go missing and it's not gonna be my fault.
Right. I completely agree with Ross right there. Hater shades down.
Hater shades down.
Hater shades down. Go ahead.
I put like a quarter cup of salt in each of them. Man, I am so thirsty. Huh? Oh, and tonight's firefighter training. Can I skip training tonight? EMS training, and our MO is out of town, so we're doing a fill-in training of just tying knots. And so, considering my skills at knots, I'm not really necessarily certain I
Fucking
need.
Mr. Captain of tying knots over here.
Inner beast of sickness.
Yeah,
Fucking
no.
look at you.
Dude, once you can tie a monkey's fist, you're pretty much, you can toss together a sheep shank in 3 seconds or tie a monkey's fist in, less than 2 minutes. You don't need to worry about tying any more knots for our practice. So,
Ross said something else.
Yeah. I get to see it first though because I'm watching the stream as well.
I'm watching your stats.
Yeah, but
What did he say? Yeah.
yeah, it comes back through my system pretty slow.
Because you have the delay as well.
Well, I was going to kick into Dark Souls 3, but apparently somebody forgot to go pick up the copy of Dark Souls
I
3.
didn't have the money for it.
Well.
I totally would have gotten it if I did. But
Laughing fell out.
Sounds like a personal problem to me.
no, it's because the
It's all
checks
laughing
take
full
9
of
days
that.
for.
It's not personal
The
because.
firefighting training, Rosh,
Oh yeah.
half of our family over here are volunteer firefighters for the local community, so we do training every Monday night for different things.
Yeah, totally do that. Don't have a pill.
Firefighter, EMS responders.
But I also like
So.
the definition he provided, and I'll go with that too.
Training of secret circle of mages trained in the arts of water magic.
Yes.
Yeah,
That sounds great.
that's pretty close to what we do.
Yeah. And by water magic, we mean we hook up a hose line and we just,
No, by water magic we means we know how to fold the damn cross lay. We know how to, yeah. The water magic is really about knowing how to flake the 5-inch off the back of the fire truck at 30 miles an hour, and how to put the shit back up there so it does flake off properly. How to put 200 feet of hose so that it fits inside of an area that's only like 24 inches deep. you know, and then how to pack that sucker across the setup. Still, well, yeah, it's pretty close to water magic. How to get your turnouts on in 60 seconds and you're ready to run into a roaring fire to find bodies. Yeah, no, we that's all magic to a lot of people who aren't trained in it. It's basically magic. It's always funny to talk to people about that too. It's that bizarre statistic. 63% of firefighters in the United States of America are volunteer. It's over half of the firefighters here. And that's because unless you are in a major city, the communities can't afford to pay firefighters. So we can't have full-time fire departments waiting for buildings to catch fire. You know, we only get 400 calls a year, even in our area. So, you know,
Not even a third of those are fire calls.
yeah, now 90% of our calls, 90% of our calls are EMS. So most of what we do is EMS work. So there's no way to justify paying full-time firefighters to sit around waiting for a fire when, you know, you've only got, what is that? That's
I'm almost at the bottom.
I want to say that's 40 calls. That's 40 calls a year that are fire calls, roughly. It's
I'm in the,
it's like 2 a month. You just can't pay full-time firefighters for that.
I need a tail talk.
And that's the way it is most of the country over. It's all volunteers. You know, when you see the videos of people, and even in Seattle, like Seattle, Tacoma, LA, New York, huge portions of their firefighters are also volunteers. It's not like they have 100% exclusive, you know, professional firefighters. They have a bunch of volunteers as well, and we're all given the same training. We have to meet the same NFPA standards. We all are trained to FEMA standards, Homeland Security. We are a subdivision in that context of the United States government's Homeland Security, even though we get paid nothing for it. So that's always pretty spectacular, in my opinion. To think that every time you see a YouTube video, like over half the times you see a YouTube video of an American firefighter, you're probably looking at a volunteer. And if they're riding into a building to pull little children out, or they're, you know, humping hoses or whatever, you know, humping hoses. When you grab that hose and you drag it out, you know, when you're grabbing the jaws of life, half the time you see them, you're probably looking at volunteers. So there you go, Rosh. That's all it takes to get us onto a subject is just mention it. We'll start ranting.
Yep.
Start writing a list would be like Mad Libs.
Mad Libs.
Here we go.
Hearing about one thing, just
He's-
mention something else.
He's giving ideas for George Lucas movies changes.
Oh god. No.
Does it involve flames and fire? Oh. He is a trade dispute.
Where were you at?
Apollo's world.
He's invading somebody.
I don't like it when they take their helmets off. That makes me upset.
His luck's higher than yours. You see that?
I don't like it when they take
He missed your light. He missed your lightning application, and
Luck is only 7.
yeah, his luck is higher than yours.
Philo, I don't
Whoa,
like
get him
when they
again!
take their helmets
Wham! Oh, see that? He rolled right out of it. Oh, he quaffed. What a cheese!
He quaffed. What?
off. Drink.
I'm not. Yeah, I know. He quaffed. I know.
Oh, you got him. Congrats. That was a really good fight.
I got my pale tongue, I'm good.
Oh, you got your kill time.
What'd you need a pale tongue for?
Rosaria's
Your
bed.
thing, right?
Yeah, Rosaria stuff.
You gonna reroll stats or something?
Really?
I'm gonna
I'm done.
shift some of my stats,
Yeah.
yeah. I've got way too many points into vitality.
Huh?
My vitality.
Dogs. Somebody not rung the doorbell, and then his dog started barking real loud, so he kicked his mic up to mute it. I heard him roll his mic up, so he's muted right now. So he may or may not still be able to hear us, and he might have set his headsets down. He could be talking to somebody at the door.
He probably could be making fun of us.
He could be he could be standing there listening to us talk about him with his microphone up, and still talking to somebody else with only half his ear exposed, like Isaac might do. So he looks like a total dork standing in the doorway talking to like the Schwann's guy.
I do that all the time. It's
See?
the best idea.
You do that too, Dad. That's just the gamer look.
This is the gamer look. What? No, this
Yeah.
is the gamer. This is the hater look.
Yeah, definitely.
So Zach, you gonna help me with this boss fight or what?
Well, I need to reroll some of my stats real
I
fast.
still like the idea of Dark
Why aren't you letting me
Souls, where
talk to
instead of
her?
capturing things, you're actually just running from things constantly.
There you go.
Talk about getting
I like that
No,
idea.
you're running from
I think
things
Dark
because
Souls,
everything
yeah,
will just
Dark Souls
destroy.
Go would be to anytime you go out in public, you know, you've got to avoid places.
I think I agree with We should start it.
So you
We
keep
should
this at
sue
50.
Pokemon Go for this ranks.
Or each like the middle of the night. And
You don't have to sue Pokemon Go because Pokemon Go is based on the code for Ingress. So it's the same company who did Ingress. This is an enhanced version of Ingress code. And they have no rights over the technology, and there's no patent for what they're doing. So you can always go, and there's a lot of people who do augmented Google Maps. So just augmenting Google Maps is pretty easily. I was just saying, you could easily do something like Pokemon Go for, like, say, Dark Souls. So you have random, like, in wooded areas, you might be able, and you can easily figure out wooded areas, city streets, roads, because Google adds metadata to that information.
Right.
So water areas could have, like, water creatures, stuff like that. It's all pretty much all there. Adding Dark Souls stuff to it so that you have to summon people over or whatever else, because, like, if there's people nearby, ooh, that'd be really well done.
Let's pitch it.
No one will like it because people would be dying left and right. But yeah. Someone invaded me.
Got the boss fight room, right, Tate?
I'm basically there.
I'm not there yet.
Or did someone? Did someone invade? No, I don't believe that. What?
I was mad after episode 7 came out. It's over, I yelled. I have the high ground. I stayed in the tree. The cops used tranquilizer darts.
I like monkeys.
What?
I like monkeys.
Do you like monkeys?
I
Might
like
live from
monkeys.
that. Probably not.
Well, hold on, let's see here for a second. 3 hours and 57 minutes till No Man's Sky.
4 hours.
4 hours.
How about what?
4 hours till No Man's Sky.
4 hours?
Uh-huh.
Sandwich?
It's not 8.
Okay.
No Man's Sky comes out at 10. It should come out at midnight.
Yeah, it says
It must come out at 10... Is it coming out at Central Time?
It gets to wait 9 days before it can buy
It must be midnight Central Time.
Hold on. 3 hours in the future is 8. So yeah, it must be coming at midnight central time. So we get
What?
it
She just lost me.
during
I told her
fire
that you
training.
can
We're
wait
gonna
9
have to
days
skip
before
it.
you can get it.
Yeah. It sucks.
Oh, Rosh, that's awesome.
It's a trilogy. I love it. That's something I don't pay good money for.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay, Mom.
Rosh for you. Fuck No Man's Sky. It's all about
Nope.
them bubble wraps, yo.
Alright, Alright. You got a sandwich when you get home. Okay. What did Rush say that was so amazing?
Fuck No Man's Sky. It's all about them bubble wraps, yo.
We were talking about that.
I went and farmed Frost today.
I know you did.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to live from this. Do you think I'll live from this?
Yeah.
When I came back here, I also found Frost to be.
Whoa, I lived.
Isaac.
I lived.
My mom, I was just like, yeah, Isaac has to wait 9 more days for No Man's Sky, and she just lost her shit instantly. She's like, wow, you worked all that time for nothing, and you still have to keep waiting.
Just because you wait for the checks to clear.
Poor Isaac.
You just wait for his checks to clear.
Yeah, no.
Can't you download Dark Souls 3? Like buy it on PS4?
Yeah, it's possible to buy it on PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got?
You'd have to buy it for him, though, Icy.
No, I was talking about you because he's playing yours.
But you could buy it for him,
Why? I don't even have a PS4.
so that you could play it on his PS4, and then I could get my copy back.
He would be playing it.
He got
There's
you
no
there.
winning here.
Really, honestly, we just need another PS4.
I bought this one. It's mine. Screw you all.
Really, the real question is, would you rather help him get No Man's Sky or Dark Souls 3?
I have a list of things I would help get, but I don't have a job.
Dang it.
Icy, if you had a job, you'd end up putting it all in the savings anyway and still say you don't have any money.
Where are you at, Isaac?
I'm on my way.
I don't even know, man. It just makes me feel better when I put it into savings.
No, I agree. It's probably the right decision half the time. But every now and then, that money is there so that you can treat yourself. Like, I'm surprised you haven't got... what really amazes me, is that you didn't go with him when he got his and got yourself a PS4.
I was considering it so hard.
I'm so floored.
You know, I could just keep saving my money instead.
Or you could be playing No Man's Sky tonight. Oh, Tate's taking his home.
What?
No, Tate doesn't have internet. Oh, this
Yeah.
matters.
He won't matter once he gets to No Man's Sky.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
And the one out front.
Yeah, you can always take a
Do you want
front.
to go to GameStop real quick?
You're seriously gonna buy it?
She's,
I have 600.
she has enough money to buy like 2 copies of Dark Souls 3, another PS4, and 2 copies of No Man's Sky, and still have like chump change left over.
No, I don't
Can you
know.
buy one more?
No.
One more No Man's Sky.
I'm not very considerate. I'm very selfish.
Consider it my book.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Alright, fine, just buy one. Just buy one for you. And that's it.
No.
Okay.
Have you taken your first trip to MEPS yet?
So, Andre, that's why your thing isn't popping up. Oops. Well,
I don't know. I'm just trying to get things done. I need to get a. What was it?
Why are you
I
going-
need these tests
why aren't you
and
clearing
blood
your
draw.
equipment?
Oh, your unit in your legs.
My leg. I need to have that
My leg.
looked at by an actual medical doctor, not just a physician's assistant or whatever. And I also need to get all of my prescription records from the pharmacies that I used to use.
Have you checked the mail recently?
No, I haven't. You can do that too.
Yeah. Because the pharmacy request was sent out a while ago.
Right. Yeah.
They really upped the difficulty
On what?
on getting in.
That's Coast Guard is
Oh, the Coast Guard's always been rough.
really picky choosy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
I, like for the Navy, they dropped me off and I was in. Like,
Yeah, no. The
It was-
Coast Guard, because the Coast Guard has such a limited budget to work with, they've always been really picky. They have a limited budget and a limited facilities and a limited number of people who are even allowed in, and so they've always had the ability to be picky about what they're doing. So, kind of interesting. And so there's a high bar to entry. They want to know every little background piece of history you've done. And like at one point in time in Texas, she was given an inhaler, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was because of a mild cough at one point in time, and they're like, "Oh, she had an inhaler. We got to go rule out asthma and everything else." And so,
They want to make sure that I don't have any existing damage.
right,
That could affect
they want to do a full lung a lung function test on her. So,
Any plant damage?
I'm not sure what they need.
yeah, Navy was pretty much. Oh, you got scoliosis? Cool.
yeah, no.
Like that's how it was. It was.
What's the other thing too is that the Coast Guard doesn't test on the shapes and puzzles portion of the ASVAB, the assembling objects portion.
they
Of no, because they're like that's their opinion apparently is that that's the test you use when they suck at every other test. You fall back on that one to assign them to things like courier duty or something fucking weird. Like I don't get it.
Makes
I
sense.
was really floored. It's like, well, when they're good at nothing else, we can at least put them in charge of planning a schedule.
They don't want people who aren't good at anything else playing us.
Well, I mean, like it used to be like spatial reasoning tests. I think are kind of. I don't know. I like them.
So what you're saying is
Well, I think you
Spatial
can,
reasoning,
I think you can infer those from like mechanical abilities and whatever else on a lot of those things. Like for most of what they're doing, you can probably infer the more applicable spatial reasoning from stuff like mechanical aptitudes and understanding of machinery, because it does take a high level understanding and and in many cases a very low level understanding of how that spatial reasoning in order to even grok some of the concepts easily. And stuff like how an internal combustion engine works, like understanding stowage and everything else in there, and cams and lifters and stuff. There's that whole assembly of that mechanical process requires a lot of interesting intuition. And you don't have to test for that intuition. You can just test for their mechanical understanding and other things to find out what's going on with them. So I think when they
pack a trunk.
yeah, I think at some point when you no longer have any other testable aptitude, you're kind of stuck. Like they basically aren't good at anything that they've kind of developed as a skill set. So you have to try to figure out what their potential skill set is so you can train them. And I think you kind of fall back to a spatial reasonings test when you have nothing else to use to infer it off of. So
Makes sense.
But if you can be picky enough, you don't have to worry about it. If they already can do all that stuff, then go for it.
Yeah, when I was I mean,
Spartan.
my I don't know. I did pretty well in my ASVAB. It was be ready for a bunch of people to compare themselves to your ASVAB.
Right.
Everybody's like, "Oh, I got this on my ASVAB." It really doesn't fucking matter.
Now, what matters is you get the
Like-
scores high enough that you open the doors to get into the possible assignments you're looking for. So
You're looking for about an 85 or an 84.
I
That
not
when I
not-
was in
not in the Coast Guard.
87,
and they use the same.
87 got me for nuke. Like that was.
Yeah, no, like the Coast Guard judges every individual category, and then they have composite. So they don't often rely on the composite score. They rely on the individual category scores for everything. So they give the same test in that context. It's one of the reasons they don't use the other goofy or the composite score system. Like they like saying you got an 80 on your ASVAB with the Coast Guard is like, yeah, they don't care.
Like, well, I mean, the highest on that you can get on anything is like I think it's a 97.
Well, no, but so that's the composite score that the U.S.
the
Coast Guard doesn't
score.
use. Like they still they require things like your AR score and your AS score. So they require minimum scores in each of the categories for certain things.
Some of them
The
they like an AMPT of this score.
right,
It also has to be
and that's your
must be with
the base ASVAB score, the general aptitude score. Yeah, so like here's a great example of a U.S. Coast Guard one, right? Like so, you need 109 in general technical aptitude on the ASVAB for the U.S. Coast Guard to qualify for some of their as an officer. So to be able to get into the Coast Guard Officer Candidate School, the OCS, your ASVAB has to make at least 109 minimum is the general, not including like your ACT and your SAT scores on top of that, as well as minimums on the core stuff like VE and AR scores. So like 109 is what they require for the minimum for officers training. Kind of interesting stuff there. So like they're really interesting.
I think Navy's requirement was for officer was basically you just had to have a degree. You could have a degree in fucking underwater basket weaving, and you can fucking go.
Right. Liberal arts, man. Liberal arts.
The degree that you'll never use anywhere.
True strike. I wish it was different, but it's not.
It's one of those things. It's not a necessity.
Where's the Sage Rate plus 2?
I don't know.
Where is it? I fucking was just looking at this the other day with Corlatrin, and we're like,
So, what's the plan?
I don't know.
I mean, it's obviously not Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, because they took my copy. Well, Corlatrin's asking for a ride all of a sudden up to GameStop to pick up another PS4. So
I mean, I was gonna say, we could do Bloodborne. That's an option.
That's always an option.
Go get another copy of Bloodborne.
She's gonna get a copy of Bloodborne, and she was talking like Bloodborne, PSN subscription, PS4, and possibly No Man's Sky.
How much is the pre-order for No Man's Sky?
60 for No Man's Sky.
So like, if I do a high zig to looking at about 350 for the PS4 after tax, because his was 340 after tax.
Okay.
And then Bloodborne would be 20, so it's 370. 430 for No Man's Sky. And PSN.
Yeah.
You figure it out. Let me know what you want to do.
I still have about 200 left over.
You will on that account, yeah.
We need to move money over from savings to check.
I agree. That's what the laptop up front's for.
Alright, I'll go do that real quick. Go kill shit. Yes. That's a good plan. I agree. I'll be right back.
Okay.
You want the microphone? Want the analyst party?
Yeah.
Nah?
There's a big thing about the Marines and whatnot too that they're allowed to take phones into boot camp.
What?
Now. Yep.
When the fuck did that happen?
I honestly don't know. Apparently, it happened within the last year.
Isaiah,
What?
I found Lingering Dragon Crest.
But yeah, no. And stress cards are actually a thing now too.
I already got one.
What?
If somebody stresses you out too much, you can pull that and be like, "My feelings hurt." And apparently that's a thing now too.
You're scaring me, my friend.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like each boot camp will be different, but you know, as far as I know, Marines and it might have been Army as well. Yeah, I saw a picture of them all in boot camp, sitting there with their cell phones. And it's like, I got one phone call. It was like prison. I got one phone call, and that was because it was Thanksgiving. Or no, it was Christmas. Yeah. But yeah, there's the Bloodborne option.
Oh, that's what it is. U.S. Coast Guard uses the AFCT, not the ASVAB.
Okay, yeah, it's a different test then.
Well, it's the same test. It's a different score from. It's a different way to compute the final general test. It's the Armed Forces Classification Test. Oh no, that's the AFCT is the one they do to replace the ASVAB once you're already an active member. That's what it is. If you're an active member, you use AFCT. If you're a nub, you use the ASVAB when you first go in. That's what's going on. Yeah, like an electronics technician it requires a minimum of the ASVAB of 65, but it also requires that your EI plus GS plus MK is at least 172 and an AR of at least 52. So like they have all these insane added requirements. Like there's not a single number that gets you in.
Alright, well... Isn't that the same for all of them, though?
No.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, because they definitely break it down. Like, they do have a breakdown of all the sections. I can't remember. I don't even know. I might even be able to look mine up.
He's gonna be on his PS4. I'm gonna be on No Man's Sky.
Yeah, the Yeoman takes the AR plus the VE has to be at least 105.
I don't know about his 8 though.
So. Just a yeoman. Well, I mean, they're not just a yeoman, but yeah, it's a yeoman. You know. Like, I guess it depends on what
Yeah,
you're boating,
it's-
whether or not the yeoman's a scary job or not.
Seriously. All you're doing is sitting there filing fucking paperwork.
Right.
You have to
Um,
understand his case.
I'm going out.
I knew a yeoman who got a Purple Heart.
Damage control. AS plus MC plus VE has to be at least 155. Gunner's mate. Final score has to be 209. That's AR plus EI plus GS plus MK.
Yeah, they take the average score of each, or the average percentile of each one, I think, and then they add them all together.
Yeah, there's how they find
and then if
the final ASVAB score is weird. They can mention it somewhere in here. It's kind of bizarre because it's add a bunch of stuff together, divide by some number, then multiply by something else. And I was like, really? What the fuck does that mean?
But yeah, no, I can't even remember everything in mine. But I know
Fahrenheit, no, it's poison.
like, cause they do like I know the
Toxins are darker color.
the Navy does base whatever job you can get off of your scores in certain areas as well.
Right.
I just can't remember. I don't know. I can't for the life of me remember, what my scores were. I only remember the solid one. The general. And they were like, "Oh, you're good. You wanna be a nuke?" I was like, "Nope."
Shit. I might want
Do
to
you wanna
recruit
work-
someday.
Yeah, like, do you want to be a like? And then I go and work around helicopters that have a sonar that like fucking only makes it so you have buoys. But yeah, no, I mean, like, they're like, "Oh, you want to be, if you do this, you'll get a $20,000 sign-on bonus, and then if you re-enlist, it's an $80,000 bonus."
This is my public clothes.
Kind of wish I would have taken it a little bit now.
Try again.
Try again.
He won't
But-
be in public with me like this.
I decided to go aviation
You're shaming your own
electrician.
daughter.
And it turns out everything is the electrician's problem.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Electronics technician.
Everything.
Is either so you're talking the EM? Like
I mean, I
electrician-
fucked I was a qualified AT as well.
Okay.
So I was a qualified aviation electronics technician. I was also a qualified aviation electrician.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Because there's the electrician's mate, which is a different. I was looking. There's two different electrician in the U.S. Coast Guard. They have the electronics technician.
There's
and they have-
EM
and the
and
ET.
ET.
Right. And then they have the
Um,
AET. So
Yeah, poise is.
Yeah, the aviation electronics technician is, you know, they work with the sono buoys and
right.
the sono dipper, communicate comms rack. But
I only remember
but if
one.
it's but if it's a goddamn wire that leads to anything, it's our problem.
Yeah.
That's my second.
Like it's like, oh, so the hydraulics are out.
Oh,
No, it's not mechanical.
Of course.
oh, I don't even have it.
You sure about that? Yeah. Okay, well I'm getting voltage here. Sounds like you guys need to change out a part. It's not how electricity works, but okay.
What's your poison, Jeremy?
Like, if I'm getting voltage when I'm supposed to get voltage, I mean, my stuff's working fine. Just change out the part.
But yeah, it's very funny stuff.
Makes you want to bitch slap some hoes. And don't even get me started on aviation ordnancemen. Oh my god. They had 5 things on the helicopter. Literally.
Really, Raj?
and they didn't even know how to fucking take care of them.
He's saying that the Berserk Musou gameplay trailer just dropped.
What?
Or if I can even see that in here.
Oh,
They're doing a game for Berserk, the anime series.
Oh,
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
Oh, I want to get that now.
really?
that's what he's saying. I'm floored. I'm
What
totally
is it, Dark
floored.
Souls 4?
Right, it's
Dark Souls.
Miyazaki's Dark Souls.
Yes.
Berserk Souls.
Berserk Souls, that's what they should call it. Give me Miyazaki. No! Can you just imagine that?
I still call Bloodborne Goth Souls, so
It pretty much is Dark Souls.
that's
I'm gonna sit here and slit my wrist with a saw cleaver.
Beast cutter.
Oh god.
Be able to get all the way around.
Dude, I already got the beast cutter.
I'd be able to get all the way over. That thing is fucking huge.
I know. I love the weapon.
It's so wicked.
I think there's only like 2 ways it actually swings.
yeah, up and down.
Oh, do you know about the Irish guy who builds all those? Yeah, I told you about him. He builds all those swords. Like he built the Berserker sword and
Yeah.
whatnot. And now that I was like looking at the sword and whatnot, he may have done it fairly accurate in the size. Like I don't think it was too far off.
I don't know if anybody could ever lift Guts' sword if he built it for real.
It's like all of his swords are heavy as fuck. Like he does have trouble.
Guts' sword is like 500 pounds.
Yeah, no, if Guts' sword was made from steel, it'd be like lifting an engine block. You could probably do it with like a, you could probably do it with copper, aluminum, bimetal alloy, and you could probably do it with aluminum magnesium. I don't think you could do it with straight aluminum. I think it would just break too easy even at straight aluminum. So,
Let me see. I'll look at his page. I can't remember.
well, it's supposed to be 8.5 feet long. Like that wouldn't fit in this house.
Yeah, it's 8.5 feet long, weighing over 500 pounds.
Easily.
And
Yeah.
Guts swings it around with one hand.
Yeah.
One hand.
He's also built some
Faster than your
swords from
eye
like
can
Dark
travel.
Souls and stuff.
Faster than I can see.
Yeah, I can see. Well, that's it. Depending on the material you use, like there's some really neat materials out there. I said copper. One of my favorites is called aluminum brass, and it's copper aluminum. Back in the day we did copper and tin, and we did copper and zinc. But both of those have a really high corrosion ratio. And while they're stronger, like adding tin or zinc to copper really improves its strength. And
It's the Dragon Slayer, right?
Yes.
yeah, Berserk.
No.
Yeah, Guts'
Okay.
Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, there's an hour video. It's his name's Michael Cthulhu.
No, he's Demon Slayer.
If you want to look it up
Demon Slayer.
and check
No,
out
his sword is Dragon Slayer.
how he builds it.
Yeah.
That's his name, Dragon Slayer, really.
Yeah.
They should have named Great Sword Dragon Slayer.
But it's like an hour-long
Yeah,
video, and
it
you
would
can
have to
actually
be
end
close to that, Rosh. I would agree. I've seen different people have different reports on it too. Like they try to figure it out. Because I don't know if there's a. I've seen 8.5 to 9 feet on the length of the Dragon Slayer.
And I've seen 400.
400 to 500 pounds. Yeah. And the width has got to be at least 18 inches. I swear. It's just a ridiculously huge sword.
Like, nothing compares to that sword. Not even the biggest sword ever actually used in combat.
He's like sitting here hacking ice chunks in half. It's pretty fucking heavy, man. Like whatever he used from it, I don't know, but that sword at least, the sword he made at least weighs 200 pounds. I'm pretty, like, at least I am pretty goddamn sure. He was only swinging down.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd pick it up to do anything with it.
Yeah, just look up Michael Cthulhu, and then the Dragon Slayer sword will be there. He also did like the Silent Hill Great Knives, Green Dragon Crescent.
You said you said David Cthulhu.
Like it's probably not 8 feet. It's probably a little bit shorter than 8. It looks like it's probably around 6 or.
Yeah, no, that's I found him.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not. He's got an hour-long video here.
Yeah, if you just like pop over to the end, you can see him swinging it around. I mean, like the sword's pretty fucking. I'm trying to like see how tall it is, but I can't even get a good idea. It looks like it's taller than him.
I'm dying.
His is hollow. Interesting.
It's
He made it hollow.
You made it hollow?
It's hollow,
That's probably the only way to lift it.
and it's aluminum. It's got sheets of steel on it, and it's aluminum the way he built it in order to make it light enough to swing.
yeah, and it's still fucking really hard to swing.
Yeah, I
Like,
know. Yeah, this is ridiculous. So he's.
Like, I mean, look at the sheer size of that fucking thing. Like, it's a totally. I mean, it's a sword that is just completely and utterly.
ridiculous. And his is not nearly
Ridiculous.
long enough
It's-
either, by the way. His blade is about
Yeah,
3
no,
feet or 3 to 4 feet too short, and it was still too heavy. Good God. That's nice, though. I bet his pommel's half the weight with the way he designed this.
Oh, you're there.
Like, I think he's done. I want to say said he did 2 different builds for it, but I think he says in the beginning that he tried
Also in you first.
to make it like 8 feet long,
Also in you first. And it
like before, and it just didn't work. Like,
So now that
he was like,
age is more.
Yeah.
but I love watching this guy sometimes while I'm like doing my work. Just his background noise.
The entire center of that sword is effectively hollow with how he designed this. He's got a.
And it's still too heavy?
Yeah.
I mean, it's understandable. Like, I didn't expect him to make it, you know.
And he sharpened the whole damn thing as well. God. But those are solid edges. The funny thing is that those are solid edges along both sides.
Especially on the camera there. But that's the basic shape.
How did he
You know, all the
get this all to
excess
stay?
along the way, so that it's
Alright, great.
comfortable on the hand.
Whoops. Yeah, that was not the right solution. There you go. Stop using cutting wheels and start using an actual grinder.
This thing pushed out for whatever reason. The hammer, the edge. I left that as the very last step. Just on the off chance that, you know, I could do it with a stiff wire too.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is like a 3/4 model of Guts' sword.
Yeah, at 3/4, and it's
Yeah.
still too heavy.
If that.
Well, because how tall is the character supposed to be?
Guts? He's supposed to be 6'5", and the sword protrudes like 3 feet over his head.
3 feet.
Okay, so see, that's the like,
and it drags on
yeah.
the ground. Like it's huge. It's like 8.5 to
You-
9 foot of sword, including the pommel. The blade is over
Right.
6 is as tall as he is.
Honestly, even a sword, even a katana like Sephiroth's sword would be really fucking difficult to swing.
Oh no, they
Like,
are. They're not very sturdy. A blade. So the Japanese used to make blades that long, with great big, they're like 3-foot handles on a blade that long. It was for going against cavalry. So people on horseback, they have these giant like anti-horseback katanas, and they have like 6-foot blades. Yeah. Yeah, it's just.
Oh, it looks. There's a second video that came on after of him kind of showing it. Was that like the first build? Or...
He's capable of just smashing blocks of ice with the weight of that thing. I wonder if he has people helping him balance it, because you never see him picking it up.
He has one time when he picks it up.
There it is. Whoa! You have to balance it up there.
Like in this video that he's doing right now, he's like spinning around with the actual hilt digging into his fucking side.
I know.
Like he can't even get momentum behind it. He has to spin his whole body.
Yeah, no, Guts is incredible because all of Miyazaki's work seems to be based on Guts and Berserk. So
he also did the sword from Bleach. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, he also did Cloud Sword at one point.
Yeah, he does the Buster Sword. He does Orin's sword as well.
I am pretty certain Guts would kick the shit out of One Punch Man. I'm just gonna say. I'm just gonna say. I'm just pretty certain Guts would kick the shit. I'm just pretty certain that nothing. Yeah, I think Guts would beat.
Watch One Punch Man.
I think Guts would win. I'm just saying. I think Guts will win.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. I don't care how ridiculous it is.
He's running with it right now. He ran forward and like slammed it in. What the fuck?
Oh, it definitely is.
He has another little 2-minute video called the Dragon Slayer, and he just like cut into a box and the box blew up. Like,
I don't even know why they would
He was
fight.
granted like the god power because he could run.
But yeah, I'm gonna go take her to go pick up another PS4 apparently, because she really wants to be playing No Man's Sky tonight for the next couple of weeks until she dies of lack of sleep. So I'll be back in a little bit apparently.
I thought it was supposed to be pretty an action anime because it's
all right, well, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
It's supposed to be making fun of all action animes.
I think
Especially
it's actually making fun of superhero anime.
no, because Dragon Ball Z's not a super